Hello and good morning, everybody. I hope you all had a good holiday season. We are back here from the holidays, and we wanted to take some time here before the end of the year to talk about the missing pieces on the communication topic that we have been discussing for the last couple of weeks. As we all know, communication is one of the paramount skills when it comes to sales, leadership, and in general anything related to human relationships. So today we'll be taking a deep dive on the topics that are left over from previous communication, and we will get it done and wrap it up before the end of the year. My name is Wajid Ali. I'm here in Toronto, Canada, and I'm live here today with my co-host and my colleague Simon Rodriguez. Simon, you go ahead, and then we will just jump into it.
Thank you, Ajit, and good morning, everyone. Thanks again for joining us on this new session of the Sales Leadership Podcast. I'm Simon Rodriguez, and I'm based in Calgary, Western Canada. As Ajit mentioned, we hope you had a good holidays season so far. Obviously, there's still a few days ahead in terms of holidays, but wishing you safe, obviously, and joyful holidays season with your family. Now we're gonna be diving, as we discussed, some of the topics we have left on communication, and perhaps we can start with that initial skill or topic we have left. We talked about some of the key aspects on communication for building effective sales teams, and when it comes to teams, one thing is collaboration, right? I think we in most cases overlook the importance of collaboration, and we tend to focus on the external aspects like the customer, the closing process, the buying process, and we overlook the importance of collaboration internally, building the team collaboration with your organization, within your organization. Now, I'm curious about your take, Wajid, on how would you define the importance of team collaboration on a successful, obviously, sales team, and why is that so important?
Yeah, absolutely, Simon. I guess collaboration when it comes to collaborations in any field of your life, it's essential. If you're working in a team environment, if you have peers, you have people reporting into you, or for any matter, you have people across in your organization, it's very important to understand what each person is, meaning that what their personality is, how they behave, how they react, how they respond. Um, again, what are their weaknesses and strengths? I'm talking from the leadership perspective, because if you have people that is on your team and you know their strength and weaknesses, then when it comes to collaboration, you can really leverage those strengths from your different team members, and they can complement each other in a lot of ways, and especially when there are testing times in the organizations, and you rely on each other, you leverage those relationships, you leverage those strengths, and then you utilize those towards your common vision, mission, and goals for your organization. I guess at the end of the day, if you follow this mantra, if you follow this strategy, everybody will see the fruits of success. Sometimes it takes some time to reach your goals, but if you all work together in collaborative environment, meaning that you pull each other up. If somebody is feeling down, if somebody is feeling low for whatever reason, as a leader or as a team member, it's our job to understand, to have those relationships established, so that we are able to understand what is going on and with this specific person or team member, and then that way, what happens is that we all work together, and we all get those fruits of success. Now, when it comes to team collaboration in sales, and since we're talking about communication, right? From communication perspective, if you look at it, I guess having an open communication, something that if you are making or building up on your strategies, but you have to have that thing inbuilt in yourself. It is a skill that you can develop, and that should be something that you bring your entire team together, have open communication, look at it how this, since we are almost the end of the year, just discuss how this entire year went, and have that kind of cadence for next couple of weeks. And from that communication perspective, just keep it open, keep it honest, and keep it genuine. This is my take on it, but I know you have something that you could share as well, and then perhaps we can move on to the next topic.
Yes, I like three things you highlighted in particular. What you did, number one was the strengths and weaknesses. I think the way to advance and to scale business and to advance the sales is by leveraging, right, our strengths and weaknesses as a teams, and we can compensate some of the weaknesses, leverage the strengths as a
Right.
team, and so that's that. I think that's essential to ensure that growth, that success as part of the collaboration. The second aspect that you described that I wanted to touch on is the importance of transparency and having that clear communication, right? If you understand the drivers and you have a clear objective in mind, we can all kind of work together toward the same goal and objective. And the third aspect that you said is reflective, right? Like if we use reflection and we reflect on things that has been going through experiences and find ways to or using those best practices. When you collaborate as a team, you get input, right? You get different perspectives, and on the sales process is so important because that will give you some of the best practices, some of the either customer success stories from different teams, etc. So that can really help you advance the journey. So yeah, I think most of what we highlighted is essential here, and overall team collaboration it's needed to scale business in a sustainable way.
Yeah,
And
exactly. And one of the thing I would like to add here, Simon, is we talk about communication, but imagine if there's miscommunication within the team.
yeah,
What is the impact of that miscommunication on your overall, not just your team, but on the overall organization, right? The impact is huge.
this, yeah,
It could lead to missed opportunities, it could lead to duplicated efforts, but it could also lead to affecting the team collaboration, right? Because everybody then thinks about their own selves, how to save and protect myself, because
that's right.
that
Yeah,
miscommunication creates mistrust. So all in all, we are talking about is communication is essential. And if you want to have a collaborative team, make sure that you have a greater communication established in your organization.
yeah. I think that sums the trust aspect, which I think that the trust is kind of, I always call it the speed of trust. I mean, when there is trust, things speed up, right? Things go in a different pace, which I think is it helps the organization as a whole, as an entity. So that's a really good point. We did it, and I think with that, so we talked about the importance of collaboration being essential. That will help us advance our sales process in a sustainable way.
Right.
Now, on the customer front, now that you have install base of customers, you have your customers in terms of that long-term relationship, how would you ensure with it? And I think that's one of the aspects we're talking about is through communication. How do you ensure a high retention rate with those existing customers? What's your perspective on that? I'm curious about your thoughts.
Yeah, my thought from that customer retention perspective is, again, since you're talking about communication here, right? So what happens is if you close an order, now customer retention only comes when you close a deal, you close a business deal, or you close an existing project. So you have any meaning, what does customer retention means? It means that you have existing customers, but now you have completed a phase of one of the business transactions with them. It could be meetings, or it could be one-on-one conversation, it could be a project, it could be a business order, whatever it is, meaning that you have touched upon that phase. Now, how do you ensure that you retain that customer on a long term, right? And what is the communication? How much communication plays a key role into customer retention? I guess that's where we are coming from. I think that's what your question is pointing towards what is the role of communication in overall customer retention, right?
That is correct, Vijay. And
Yeah.
it goes and I think goes back to your point is considering you already have a customer in place. And I was thinking things like ensuring the customer is realizing seeing value from the solution that they already have in place, right? And following up, having that open and continuous communication with the customer to ensure that they are realizing that value that they initially envision as part of the solution they work with you, right? So I think that comes from the communication perspective. But would you agree with that? Would you will be mostly through follow-ups and having that open communication, or would you add anything else when it comes to communication and ensuring that retention keeps constant with the customer?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with what you just said. Is keeping follow-ups, keeping continuous touch points with your existing customers definitely help in retaining the customers. But at the same time, what I would suggest here to our audience is, keeping open lines of communication always helps in addressing issues, uncover some cross-sell or upsell opportunities, right? So if you are, if you
Right,
have
having that open
exact,
communication with the customer. It's and yeah, I think you're back. We lost you there for a second.
yeah. So yeah, so you're right. So when you have that open communication established with your customer, what happens is that it helps you and them address some issues, along the business journey, along the relationship journey between you and your customer. There are good times and there are tough times, right? So when I say there are good times are the times when you're able to help them meet their goals. Those are good times. But then during that journey, what happens is that there are some tough times, meaning that uh, you or your team might have missed on some deliverables. There could be some documentation were not delivered on time. There might be some other expectations that your customers were expecting from you or your team, but it was not timely delivered, right? And what happens is that if there is not no proper follow-up or no touch points with you and between you and your customers, all those uh, things that I just mentioned that sour the relationship between your business and the customer business, and it affects the customer retention. So having an open communication, having a cadence of follow-ups, it could be one-on-one, it could be in person, virtual, whatever mode is possible and convenient for you and your customers. Make sure that it's in place. Make sure that you have open communication so that if there are any issues highlighted between you and your customers, they are addressed on time. And also, it will give you some cross-selling and upselling opportunities if you have continued relationship with your customers. I think that's my take on it, Simon. You can certainly share your views and then we can wrap it up.
Yes, the one thing I will add with it will be the opportunity once you have that follow up that continues and open communication with the customer and existing customers is also an opportunity to number one identify any potential issues, right, or any potential issues before they become a problem for the customer. So let's say you have a customer and perhaps they are still or they're not maximizing the value, they're not seeing the full value of the solution because of some product deficiencies or some uh, let's say issues with the product, right, or the solution, or even with the services. So by having that opportunity, by following up, that will give you as a company, as an organization, the opportunity to adjust, to make, let's say, to enhance, make changes to a solution, and identify problems or issues before they become of importance to the customer. And by doing that, you also show the customer that you care, obviously, that you're focusing on the value they're getting from the solution, and that you are being accountable, you're taking responsibility for things that need to be fixed. So that's, in my experience, one good way to ensure that customer retention, ensuring that yeah, you are there to make sure they're getting value from full value from your offering. And by doing that, I think you secure yourself, obviously, a loyal customer, on the long road. So yeah, I think that's kind of the core topic here. I know with that was probably wrapping up with the two topics. Any final thoughts on your end before we wrap it up?
No, I would just say thank you to all the audience, the community. This year, we just, we launched this podcast. It was our first year. We have seen a lot of traction. We have seen a lot of engagement, a lot of motivation, a lot of good feedback, some critical comments as well. We truly appreciate it, and we'll make sure that we bring more and more valuable information for our audience, our followers, uh, and we will keep building upon what we have just started this year. Before we wrap it up, I would wish all of you happy holidays, remaining happy holidays, and also happy new year. What we are planning here, Simon, as we were discussing, we will be bringing the first episode of our new year. We will be talking about setting objectives, goals. What is the value of setting earlier goals and objectives for your new year, and what role does it play for the team success? This is what I'll say in the wrap up. Simon, I'll give you some time to add your comments as well, and then you can close it up from here.
Sure. And thanks everyone for your continued support and the time you allocated to join us throughout the year. We look forward to successful 2025 and wishing you and your family safe holidays. So we'll see you next time. Thanks again.
Thank you.